So today is Srila Govinda Maharaj's Disappearance Day, the Viraha Titi, day of separation. And we hear something about separation in the scriptures. We hear something of that expressed by the great Vaishnavas. And yes, today is Srila Govinda Maharaj's Disappearance Day. The theme, the mood of the day is separation from him. That is the theme and mood of the day. And we've heard something about that theme and mood expressed by our Guru Varga, described in the scriptures. The idea of viraha is it is not only now he is gone and therefore we are feeling separation. That is not the case. To genuinely feel what is described in the scriptures as separation is a state of devotion. It's a state of consciousness within a sincere devotee. And to approach that in the proper way, to culture that in the proper way, it is necessary to understand how it has been shown and also taught by the scriptures, by the devotees. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he wrote some prayers he called the Daita Dash Dashakam, which are his prayers written with this mood and theme of separation. When he is the day of his Gurudev's Disappearance Day, what type of mood, what type of feelings, what type of considerations are present in his heart at that time? And he's writing those in his poems, so that through that we can understand the genuine mood of separation and what is appropriate and applicable for a day like this to speak about and to pray on within our hearts. And that poem, it has a chorus. So that chorus gives you the overall kind of theme and mood of the whole idea. It says, Yatraso tatra shigram kripana nayana he niyatam king karoyam. Where he says, wherever he may be, may I, his servitor, also go there. So what does that mean? It means, the heart, the feelings of the servitor in separation from their master is only the extreme feeling of necessity to remove this separation, to somehow abate this separation, to maintain some connection, some union with the master. That is the overwhelming sentiment. So howsoever one may do that, one is eager, one is ready, one feels desirous and feels it necessary to do such things. And we hear that expressed very extremely in the song. Every Disappearance Day we sing a song. It's called the Viraha Giti, Jayanilo Prema, you're all familiar, we sang just a few minutes ago. So one line, very extreme expression of Narottam Thakur. He says, Pashane Katibo Mata Anale Pashibo Gauranga Gunera Nidhe Kota Gele Pabo. And he's saying, if I can go anywhere that I can obtain my Lord, then that's where I will go. And then he says, if that place involves entering into a fire, then I'll go. If that involves breaking my head on a stone, then I will go. That's what he literally, Pashane Kutibo means I will break my head on a stone, Anale Pashibo. I will enter a fire if by going there I could obtain again the association of my Lord. So, very extreme type of expression. But when Srila Sridhar Maharaj is saying, wherever he may be, please quickly take this servitor there, this extreme feeling of necessity for maintaining one's connection, maintaining one's presence within the shelter of one's master, of one's Gurudev, of that type of Vaishnava, that type of extreme feeling comes in the heart. And we see this described in the scriptures. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the disciples of Mahaprabhu, also in Bhagavatam, things like this. And I have one particular thing in there that I find particularly, I've never heard it so many places, but just it came across it and felt very, something came into my heart from being exposed to that. And it describes the separation that Arjuna feels from Krishna in Bhagavatam. And it's described that after the battle of Kurukshetra, Yudhisthira becomes the king of the world. Krishna, arranges everything. Yudhisthira becomes king of the world, and then Krishna goes to Dwaraka. And then after some time, the Pandavas are in Hastinapur, Yudhisthira is the king of the world, and then Arjuna, he decides, I'll go and visit Krishna and see how everything is going in Dwaraka. And all the Pandavas say, yes, go and see Krishna, quickly, see how everyone is and come back and give us news and like this. So Arjuna leaves and goes to Dwaraka. And time passes and gradually some months pass. And gradually, Yudhisthira starts to think, where is Arjuna? When will Arjuna return? And more time is passing, and gradually some anxiety starts coming to Yudhisthira. It's unlike Arjuna to be gone so long. What happened? And then gradually he starts to perceive some inauspicious omens in his kingdom. And he starts seeing, some increased crime within the kingdom. He starts seeing unusual weather patterns in the atmosphere. What's that? Yes, he hears barking dogs. Some of the inauspicious symptoms are like, we don't exactly get it, but we're just told they're inauspicious. Like he says, cows are walking past me on the left, and everyone knows that's inauspicious, When it's described, cows are passing me on the left. And crime, and people are, men and women are not upholding their marriages, and crops aren't being grown properly, and unusual storms are coming, and there's so many ways he starts perceiving all these inauspicious symptoms in the environment. And the main one is like Arjuna, the greatest warrior in the world, is not coming back on time. Gradually his anxiety builds, and he's like, what is going on? And then finally, after 7 months, Arjuna returns to Hastinapur. And Yudhisthira, he's been stressing out for so long. But just when he sees Arjuna, he's like, okay, Arjuna's back. It's all just in my mind. It's all just, I'm just freaking out. I'm just following my mind. This is all just not really happening. And, everything must be okay. And as soon as he sees Arjuna, he's like, how's Krishna? Well, how's Draupadi and Krishna's mother and Krishna's father and his relatives, and how is it in Dwaraka, and how are the palaces, and what about the gardens? And he's like, so excited to hear, and he's like very, very But then gradually Arjuna comes, into the whatever, the hall or something, and then he sees Arjuna, and Arjuna's like very frail and like quivering, and all of a sudden he's like, and then Arjuna comes up and he pays dandavats to Yudhisthira, and his tears are pouring from his lotus eyes and all of a sudden Yudhisthira is like, and then just by seeing Arjuna, it hits, he knows what happened, this could only, and then Arjuna begins just uncontrollably crying and saying, all those things that Yudhisthira was so excited about, each one of those was like blows, like another, like things that were so dear to Arjuna's own heart that were now gone, that he had now, and he's hearing all these things like, and it's like producing so much pain in his heart. And he, gradually explains that Krishna has withdrawn, that, and expressing so many of his personal experiences with Krishna, saying, that Krishna who drove my chariot in the battle of Kurukshetra, he's now gone. That Krishna that sat on the same bed with me and like had biscuits with me and like made jokes with tea with me. He is now, that Krishna who gave me the power to go to heaven in this body and defeat the, Indra himself. That Krishna is now gone. That Krishna that, gave me the information to escape from this, and he starts listing so many events in his life and things that all happened through his relationship with Krishna. And each shloka is like this and this, and that Krishna is, and it's long, it's like 40 maybe shlokas, so many like references to pastimes and experiences he had with Krishna, and each one, it's a very sad tale that he expresses, and but over the course of his expressions, he says, and by reflecting on all these different experiences I had with him, all these ways, his grace, his affection, his association, his beauty, his qualities, the way all these things were present to me, I feel ever increasing affection for him at each moment. The longer he's gone, and as I continue to remember his form, qualities, and pastimes, my affection for him increases incrementally at each moment. And he goes on and on and on, and then, finally he tells one shloka how he deals with the situation, and then his speech is over. He's like so many ways how he's so disturbed and he's missing Krishna so much, and then one shloka how he deals with it, and then his speech is over. The last shloka, how does he, so much experience in his heart, and then finally he says, Desha kalarta yuktani hrit tapo pashamani cha haranti smaratas chittam govinda bihitani me. He says, so in this condition, considering all of this, I am all I have, the only thing that gives me solace, what fills my heart and enables me to keep going. And he also mentions, and on my way back from Dwaraka, I got beat up by some gundas. He says, it says, Gopa Asadbhi, like some bad gopas, some like nonsense, cow jungle guys. They beat me up on the road. Like, it was like, I'm the greatest warrior in the world, but I'm so sad that like some little punks like beat me up on the road. And like, he's so like, just like shattered, and he says, but that when I remember what Govinda, he specifically says, Govinda bihitani me, means what Govinda expressed to me. And he's particularly referring to the Bhagavad Gita and to his speech in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that, what instructions, what message he gave to me in my time of greatest sorrow and distress. When I remember that, Desha kalarta yuktani, it becomes endowed with ever new meaning in all times, places, and circumstances. Desha and kal means all places, all times. So you can say, like, throughout all time and space, its meaning, its depth, the extent to which I appreciate it ever increases. And hrit tapo pashamanicha means the burning sensation that I have in my heart. You could say, that means the threefold miseries of material existence, or you could say that burning feeling I have from being separate from Krishna. That's the only thing that removes the pain. And then he says, smaratas, haranti smaratas chittam, and, it says, it removes this pain in my heart, and it also steals my heart. It also takes my heart. It means it also enchants me. It enriches, it captivates me. Words for beauty in Sanskrit are like manohar, means something that takes the mind, something that steals the heart. That's synonymous with the word beauty. So it's so beautiful. It's so meaningful, it's ever fresh and increasingly nourishing to me. And with that is the only thing I'm able to sustain my life and existence. So, but specifically he says, what Govinda spoke to me, the word of Govinda. So in our condition, we have the words of Govinda Maharaj, just in a very personal moment, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks before his disappearance. He was speaking, maybe Bhakti Lalita was there, I heard tape and other people who were there. He was speaking, talking amongst a few devotees, and then somehow the subject of Islam came up. And he said, yes, Islam I appreciate very much, because, maybe you were there. And he said, because they have one God. There is only one God in Islam. Like, everybody knows it and everybody worships the one God, This is so very appreciable quality, And then he like quiet, and then he says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Adir Govind. Like, that shloka, translate it live, means the one and only Supreme Lord is Krishna, who's the origin of everything and who's known as Govinda. And then he pauses, and then he says, and I am Govinda Maharaj. So, he can say that in his own, mood of divine humor, but also for us, as we know, Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastrair Uktas Tata Bhavyate Sadbhi. All the sadhus, all the scriptures tell us that Guru is non-different than the Lord, is Govinda himself. So the message of Govinda, the message of Bhagavad Gita, the word of the Supreme Lord himself, for us it's come into our hearts through him. He is the speaker of that message, so in one sense he's the non-different, Guru Rupa Shastrahan Shastrera Pramani, Guru Rupa Krishna Kripa Kare Bhagyavani. Krishna himself appears in human form as the Guru to deliver you. This is in his poem on the wall there. So that is our collective experience as his followers, is that we all will testify in our hearts that Govinda, that one supreme absolute Lord, appeared in the form of Bhakti Sundar Govinda dev-Goswami Maharaj on the earth planet at this particular phase of time and space. And we're all like, yes, like this we like recognize, and this we, the beauty of that, the joy of that, the significance of that we carry in our hearts throughout our lives. And what he said, what he's taught, what he's spoken to us, the affection that he's extended through his pastimes, through his teachings, by remembering that, that will alleviate any pain, any disturbance, any difficulty that we feel in separation from him. And that's really all that there is. If we see the words of the great devotees, Srila Gurudev Maharaj, maybe there's that famous tape where he says like, Vilasatu Hridi Nityam Bhakti Siddhanta Vani. The real essence of Bhakti Siddhanta is there. Like, through dedicating our lives to his word and what he wanted for us by, as Shanta Maharaj was speaking very nicely about, basically sacrificing ourselves for the ideal that he requested of us. And then we will get full nourishment and continued association with him throughout all time and space, irrespective of all possible circumstances. So if we are properly situated within faith, then every single event that transpires following his disappearance will only come to deepen our appreciation for his word. Every single event, all these things going on, whatever they may be, they all deepen our appreciation for his word. And you could say, one sense through, ongoing hearing about it, but in another sense you could say, like, similar to what Goswami Maharaj mentioned this morning, out of desperation, when Goswami was saying, how did you realize Trinata Pisuniche was the greatest shloka, where you just, did it, he's like, out of desperation, I just needed it, So how fortunate are we that these circumstances that are coming, where we're being, pressed and given forceful urgency is coming to us to further appreciate and further surrender to and live by his word within our hearts. How fortunate are we for that? How merciful is he to, embrace us more fully and more, with more force in this way. And I'll just want to say one other thing related to that. Another way of looking at his word and what it is. Recently, as we were preparing the shlokas for the temple, we were also looking at some of his poetry and thinking about what writings of his own we would put on the temple. And we came across one poem known as Sarup Od Bodhan, which is Sripad Maharaj specifically was like, give special attention to this one. And we put about half of it on the temple. And there it's a poem, I don't know exactly what year he wrote it, but it was published in 1955. So anyhow, sometime before 1955, which, you know, at this, any time between the age of, you know, 25 and 20 or something, he wrote this poem. And in that poem, he says, the chorus of it is, Ami Guru Das Nahi Anya. Like, who am I? I'm a servant of Guru and nothing else. That's all I am. That's the only thing I identify with and conceive of my existence as. The servant of my Guru. And then he says, and as the servant of my Guru, what am I doing? And he says, I'm taking the banner of Mahaprabhu's Prem, and I'm going all over the 14 planetary systems of this universe, trying to wake people up to their swarup, to who they truly are, to their soul who's a servant of Krishna. I'm going all over the 14 worlds with the message, the words of my Guru saying, please, you know, come to the Prema Dharma of Mahaprabhu. That is your true self. And he's saying, and along the way, any other dharmas that I come across, I'm abolishing them from this place. Any continued performance of karma and gyan, you know, pursuit of mundane enjoyment, pursuit of liberation, I'm pulverizing those things. And wherever I go, I'm erecting palaces that within which all the practices of devotion will go on. And, you know, he says, and that Krishna who devastated all the demons in the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, I'm declaring his glories to all the demons of this world. And I'm drumming up the kettle drums of universal conquest. And I'm taking a Ganges, like a big flood of the Ganges of pure devotion, and I'm spilling it everywhere. And then once that Ganges of pure devotion goes everywhere, then I'm getting a giant boat. And I'm collecting all the Aryans, all the Brahmins and exalted spiritual people, all the non-Aryans, all the people who maybe aren't Vedic, and all the Malechas, all the, you know, uncultured people, all the bad people. I'm getting everybody from all sections. I'm putting them all in this boat. Then this boat, it's going to go to Goloka. And in this way, I'm going to empty the whole world. I'm going to flood the whole world with the Ganges of devotion, put everyone on the boat, and then we're all going to chant Harinam, and that's going to create the wind that's going to blow the boat. And with the power I get from my Guru, I'm going to be able to steer the boat. And anything that Maya brings, I'm going to, like, you know, he says like, chinna vi, like, I can't remember the exact word, but it's like chinna vi chinna, like I'm going to just slash it away, you know. And in this way, the whole world's going to be empty. All the Malechas, all the Aryans, everybody is going to go to the spiritual world and get 4 arms. And when all the devas and all the, you know, heavenly beings of this world, when they see that all the Malechas got 4 arms, they're all going to give jai to the Malechas. All the devas are going to worship the Malechas. And then in this way, everyone's going to arrive in Goloka Vrindavan and smell something of the divine scent of the lotus feet of Krishna, become mad and, you know, here and there be chanting Jai, Jai, and thus intoxicated with Krishna Prem. And in that way, I will be satisfied as being a simple servitor of my Gurudev. So, Ami Guru Das Nahi Anya. So he wrote this poem when he's maybe 20, 25 years old, you know, before any Krishna consciousness in the way, you know, or anything, you know. But as a young boy in his early 20s with, you know, his enthusiasm with the mercy of Guru, he's thinking like this. And, you know, now we're thinking, you know, what type of palace of pure devotion, what type of, you know, collection of all the people of this world, all these things, you know, they've come to pass. So as Goswami Maharaj, you know, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, some mystical ability where whatever he desired, it came to happen. You know, so we can think what type of power is in his word, you know, what type of strong things he can say and how they can come to pass. So, if as similar to what Shanta Maharaj was saying, if he's, instructing us in a particular way, if he's saying this is how you can maintain your connection with me, this is how you can serve me, this is how you can remain under my shelter, then we have to think there's some backing behind that. There's some power, some wave of protection flowing through that desire and what he's expressed. So to be here on this day and to be in the company of his devotees, to be, at least intending to practice his word and follow his instructions in our lives. So through, fulfilling his desires by serving his devotees and by always remembering, culturing, and trying to follow his word, we will always have his association. And we will be assured of his continued grace and protective influence over us. And we have all hope to satisfy him with our lives. So that is what I have to say. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanang pavanebho vaishnavebho namo namo.